After showcasing inspirational paint schemes for Space Marines in my previous video, I thought I would celebrate the launch of 11th edition with some orcs! Well, I don't have any, so we are awakening the Necrons. After spending the last video as a decoration on Space Marine bases, I would say they are due for some reanimation. It's payback time. Yeah.
Alert.
The first paint scheme was inspired by Team Fortress 2, specifically the co-op mode Man vs Machine. I really like the combination of teal armor, orange accents and a subtle red glow. The slightly crappy paint job really captures the industrial feel of the Man vs Machine robots. The next paint scheme is inspired by one of my favorite sci-fi game series, Mass Effect, and especially by Legion. It features his iconic M7 shoulder plate, his M92 Mantis sniper rifle, and even the white glow of his eyes and mouth, recreated on the Necron's eyes and chest. It may not be the most suitable scheme for a whole army, but the idea of self-aware Necron fighting alongside the Imperium was simply too good to pass up. Located in Ultima Segmentum, the Novokh Dynasty marched to war in crimson livery, echoing the bloody rituals of their past. Not knowing much about the dynasty's lore, I originally painted my Necrons with Mephiston red, shaded with Nuln Oil, and just thought it was a cool paint scheme. But then I learned that Novokh Warriors would dab themselves in blood of their fallen enemies after battle, so I did exactly that, applied blood for the blood god over a metallic base. Here's a side-by-side comparison, so you can decide which version you prefer. For me, the blooded metallic version is the winner, bringing the Novokh Dynasty's brutal lore to life. Thanks to the preserved head of an ancient alien prophet, the Nihilakh Dynasty can foresee the future and strike their enemies when they least expect it. I couldn't decide whether zebras are white with black stripes or black with white stripes, so for the Nihilakh Dynasty I went with both approaches, gold on teal and teal on gold. The regal teal and gold palette suits the Nihilakh perfectly, reflecting one of the wealthiest and most prestigious Necron dynasties. With Fleshy, I experimented with bone and skin tones to create this unique meaty paint scheme. This Necron Warrior is basically lore playing a fully clothed Flayed One with carefully painted stomach bag. If the Flayed Ones ever founded their own dynasty, I imagine it would look something like this. Would you paint an entire 2000 point army in this paint scheme, or is one Fleshy Necron enough? During the War in Heaven, the Mephrit Dynasty specialized in stellar destruction, wielding technology capable of turning stars into supernovae. To me though, they just look like James Cameron's Terminators. To break the monotony of the paint scheme, I painted the exposed wires and broken jaw with Runelord brass, then added accents of Tesseract glow to the gun and chest to tie the model in with the rest of the Necron army. And of course, I couldn't resist giving it a glowing red eye as a nod to the Terminator. Come with me if you want to paint. Pinky was my attempt to get my girlfriend into painting her first Necron. She wanted to paint it pink, so I bought my first ever contrast paint, Doomfire Magenta, to make the process easier for her, only to discover it wasn't the shade of pink she had in mind. Needless to say, my attempt was not successful. What about you guys? Have you managed to get your significant other into the hobby? The Szarekhan Dynasty is the personal dynasty of the Silent King, Szarekh, making it one of the most powerful Necron dynasties in the existence. They are also a poster boys, so if you had no previous experience with them, chances are your first Necron was painted in this paint scheme. That's exactly how I started as well. In this comparison you can see that even painting Necrons has its learning curve. The weapons on first two miniatures are quite messy, because Tesseract Glow was completely new to me, but on my 16 miniature you can clearly see that practice makes perfect. So don't worry about your first models, even Asian Necron Warriors had to be reactivated one step at a time. I was looking for a unique paint scheme and came across this image on Pinterest, so I decided to recreate it. The paint scheme works especially well by combining a dark metallic base with vibrant Tesseract Glow, creating a mysterious Asian machine powered by unnatural energy. The result is a dark Necron Warrior with subtle light brown metallic accents and bright green energy flowing through its weapons, joints and exposed ribcage. A perfect balance between Asian machinery and alien technology. Our final paint scheme for Warriors is a Sand Necron created by Midwinter Minis. I want to give a shout out from my massive channel to this unknown YouTuber. Credit where credit is due. The paint scheme is achieved by applying texture paint, shading it with wash, then dry brushing lighter brown tones over the surface. Finally, a light blue dry brush is added to the gun, chest and exposed areas of the head to create a subtle glow effect. I believe Guy has a full tutorial on his channel, so if you're interested in trying this paint scheme yourself, go and check it out. Leading the Necron Warriors is our first member of the Royal Court, the Royal Warden. For my leaders, I wanted to create a clean, regal look, which I achieved using this gold and silver paint scheme. I also reused the Doomfire Magenta from earlier, applying it to his Relic Gauss Blaster and cloak. I really like the white stripe across his forehead as it adds a nice finishing touch. The result is a noble looking Royal Warden who stands apart from the rank and file warriors. The Lychguard are the elite protectors and emissaries of Necron nobility. They are gifted with highest quality living metal necrodermis bodies, equal in resilience and power to those inhabited by the Necron Lords and Overlords they serve. These miniatures come with a variety of unique poses and equipment options, including hyperface swords, dispersion shields and warscythes. For my Lychguard, I also chose the regal appearance, although slightly less ornate than their Royal Court counterparts. I also batch painted these miniatures in the same paint scheme. While they look impressive as a unit, the process was quite tedious and honestly not very enjoyable for me, painting the same details over and over again. Still, seeing them assembled as a complete unit makes the repetitive painting process feel worthwhile. Adding to our royal court are the Overlords, equipped with Resurrection Orb, Tachyon Arrow, Void Sight and Staff of Light. The scheme relies on a strong contrast between gold and silver, while Doomfire Magenta and Terradon Turquoise on the weapons and details tie the leaders together into a cohesive force. To break up the uniformity, the Overlord with the Resurrection Orb features a lighter gold on his cloak. An Overlord's will is absolute, and with these ancient rulers restored, the dynasty is one step closer to reclaiming the galaxy. Canoptek Scarabs are Necron constructs designed to break down both organic and inorganic matter into raw energy. I've prepared 3 different variants of these little POGs. The first follows the classic Szarekhan scheme, using Runelord brass and Tesseract Glow. The second features Runefang steel bodies with Doomfire Magenta glowing orbs. The third plays on the contrast between Retributor armor and bright blue highlights. The 90s gave us POGs. The 31st millennium gave us POGs with appetite for planets. Skorpekh Destroyers are Necrons consumed by the Destroyer cult, obsessed with exterminating all living things. However, we'll start with the Plasmacyte. The Plasmacytes inject a hateful substance into members of the Destroyer cult, amplifying their nihilistic insanity and driving their lust for annihilation to even greater heights. Even though it's essentially a glorified token, I'm glad GW gave it a proper miniature. The first Destroyer follows the classic Szarekhan paint scheme. The Hyperphrase blade features a smooth color transition. I used a piece of sprue to create a metallic support beam on the base. Even in the standard Dynasty colors, this is an incredibly imposing miniature. The second Destroyer belongs to Novokh Dynasty, highlighted by blood-soaked blades and the severed hand of an ultramarine on the base. Compared to the Szarekhan scheme, the colors are reversed. The armor is dark metallic while the joints are brass. Red accents on the shoulder guards and head complete the iconic Novokh look. The final Destroyer features a custom scheme inspired by ancient Egypt and pharaohs. The blades are finished in gold and silver, adorned with bright blue runes and red gemstones. The white shoulder armor with blue stripes is inspired by the pharaoh's Nemes headdress, while the head design takes inspiration from the Nihilakh Dynasty. No matter the dynasty, even Skorpekh Destroyers shares the same purpose: to close the distance and leave nothing behind. Completing our royal court is the Skorpekh Lord, a noble who was succumbed to the Destroyer cult. His obsession with the slaughter has twisted both his body and his mind into something truly monstrous. I love the contrast this model represents, a Necron noble fighting with the ferocity of barbarian. His blade is ornate yet looks rusty, while his massive blood-stained claws emphasize his savage nature. It's a hefty miniature with an imposing presence, perfectly suited to lead a pack of destroyers into relentless close combat. Finishing our showcase is the Canoptek Doomstalker, a towering Necron construct that provides a devastating mobile firepower on the battlefield. The inspiration for this paint scheme came from the Colossus in StarCraft II. At the same time, the colors complement the rest of my royal court, so the model still feels right at home alongside the rest of the army. What do you think? Did I do the Colossus justice?
And that concludes our journey through Necron dynasties. Some of these paint schemes are inspired by official lore, while others draw from different sci-fi universes. Together they show just how versatile a Necrons can be as a painting project. If even one of these miniatures has inspired your next paint scheme, then the showcase has done its job. I also prepared a step-by-step tutorial how I painted the Colossus-inspired Doomstalker from the final showcase, so stay tuned for the next video. May your reanimation protocol never fail, and thank you for joining me at Ollie's crafting table.